Hey guys, so I'm in a pretty good mood. So I just watched a video of Caleb from Brownells building an AR-15 upper. And sure, I can build an upper, but I like to learn new things and see how other people are doing it. And he has a lot of wisdom, and I'd like to try to absorb and see how he does things to better improve what I do. So, but I'm watching this video just now, and he has this brain fart of a moment, and he says, "Words are hard today." And it just makes me think that somebody strapped him down and taped his eyelids open and made him watch one of my videos, and I infected his brain with my nonsense. And then he uses it in a video. It's just a great moment. Is this what it means to go viral? I infected his brain? I don't know, but it's awesome. Hey guys, welcome back to the Untrained to Unprofessional Workbench. My name is Nobody, and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time to the channel, just want to say I call myself an untrained unprofessional because I'm just a guy that's figuring stuff out as he goes, and I'm dumb enough to put it on the internet so others can watch and make fun of me. So just know I am not an expert, but maybe you can learn something from what I do, either the right way or the wrong way. I'll leave that part up to you. Do your own research is what I'm saying. Before we get into everything, I do want to ask you your opinion. Now, on this 1911 build, it's got a very smooth front strap, and when shooting it in the past, it does feel like it likes to move a little bit in my hand. Now, I want to ask you your opinion. Should I use grip tape to solve this problem? Or do you think I should man up and learn how to checker? Yes, I do have a checkering file in the guide, and now that I'm saying this, I realize what you guys are going to tell me, so I guess I'm learning how to checker. To bring you up to speed, in the last video we went ahead and we finished fitting up the barrel to the slide, and to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to get out and shoot it just to see if everything was going to function as I hoped, and also to make sure that if I get too far down the rabbit hole and put all this time and money in it and then have the thing blow up in my hand after it's all done, it would just be a waste of money. So I wanted to see if I should quit while I'm ahead, so I went ahead and went out and shot it. Now, in order to do that, I did check it with my go and no-go gauges, and which I have some climbers, and found it out that I did need to ream the chamber a little bit. So I have a Manson finishing reamer here that I ran through the chamber, to get it to where it needed to be, and went out and shot it, and everything functioned just fine, so I was super happy with it. Also, while I was out shooting, I did check to make sure that the firing pin is striking well towards the center of the primer, so everything is looking like it is hunky-dory and gives me hope to move forward on this project. Now, what the goal of today's video is going to be finishing the slide. So we're going to go ahead and start with the firing pin stop, which is going to be part number 10360 from EGW. And it is oversized, and just to give you an idea, that the original is 463 and this new one is 481. So have a little bit of fitting to do on the sides, or the width I should say. It does start into its spot, but then the width starts getting to be an issue. So we're going to go ahead and take a little bit off of each side, and I just want it to barely to be able to sneak by, so that way it stays nice and tight and keeps the extractor from wanting to rotate. Seems like I only need a couple thou off of each side, so I'm going to take a smooth file and just sneak up on it and try to keep this as flat as possible. Alright, so it's a little bit farther than it was last time. I can almost push it all the way in. So getting really, really close. I'm just trying to see if I have a high spot on here. And the other thing that I'm going to do is put a slight little chamfer on these corners. That chamfer allows it to go in a little bit easier. We're going to go ahead and remark this and see where it's contacting. I'm not seeing any scratch marks on the front or the back, so it's all on the sides. Okay, so a little bit of mark down here, and still on that corner, just a little bit right here. Might have a little high spot. Might hit you with a file. Well, I think we're about there, guys. Okay, so using Wilson Combat, part number 336, titanium. Why titanium? Because it's fun to say, titanium. And we're going to use the EGW firing pin spring, which is part number 10600. Let's see if we can get this to sit in. Because really, this is the only part that really matters, right? There we go. That fits good. Now we can go ahead and move on to our extractor. Extractor number is going to be part number EGW 10322. Alright, so for you new guys, what we're basically doing, which look at this as a profile shot of your extractor here, and we're mainly focusing on this edge right here, or not this edge, but this end. So the areas that we need to take care of is we need to put a radius right here. So that way the case, when it gets forced up into the extractor, it gently pushes it out of the way versus hitting a 90-degree corner and stopping. So we need to help it do so smoothly. Also, this 90-degree corner right here, we need to do a little bit of radiusing also as well for the same reasoning. Because what happens is that case, if this is your breech face right here, your case comes up like this at an angle before it goes perpendicular to the breech face. So having this relieved right here helps it flow over that corner as well. So that's the 30,000 foot preview of what we're going to be doing. Now the tool that I'm going to use is a needle file that I have modified, and basically it has 3 safe edges that don't have any teeth on it. I took the teeth off and it just has 1 cutting side. So that's what I'm going to be using to get into those areas. And if you're going to be using something like a needle file, you may have to take off more material than what you think, just because it is a pretty tight spot in there. So you want to be able to work it and get into the corners that you need to get into. Changed the battery, but forgot to turn the camera back on. So I'm going through and just doing my radius. I'm trying to make it as even as possible. And just to give you an idea of what I've done so far. There, you can see that right there. Okay, so swapping the extractor over so I can access the other side of the hook. Basically, I am working on this 90-degree edge where I need to create a bevel or a chamfer to help the case to slide nice and easy into position. And it's kind of awkward to work the little file in here, and I'm just going a little bit at a time, taking that corner off, and I'm not working a huge area. I'm just trying to create a nice transition. That way there's no sharp corner that catches on the brass case. Now, if you remember how that case comes up across the breech face, it's going to come up at an angle. Well, you want to relieve that bottom corner for it to come up at an angle. If not, it can snag and then you have feeding problems. As you can tell, great camera work showing you the wrong end, but there's a glint right there on that corner. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about how the extractor grabs onto the case. Now there are a couple areas that you want to have touch and also areas that you don't want to touch. Right here is where you don't want it to touch. But right there, you want that extractor to touch the case on the rim. That way you put all your pressure right there and nowhere else, especially not there. So you'll need to check your extractor to see how it is hitting. So the first area we're going to work on is right here on the hook. And basically what's going on with my example is that it is opposite of what is happening. It is touching everywhere that it shouldn't and not touching where it needs to be. So taking a file, just going to go ahead and knock down the top of that hook and paying particular attention to try to keep it as even as possible. That way I don't have any weird areas. How's that? That doesn't make any sense. Now as I'm doing this, I am checking my work quite often. That way I don't go any farther than I have to. But also you're going to have to check this in the gun itself to make sure that it works. Now once I get it to my desired height, I just created a nice little sharp corner there on the bottom of the extractor, so I'm taking that corner off so that way it does not gouge into the brass. Now just checking some tension on the extractor, and at this point I've done some work to the limiter pad, but not a whole lot. But it's finally getting to the point where it is kind of holding in place. Go ahead and remove the firing pin stop here, and it's fitting really nice and tight. I'm very happy with how it feels. Now I'm going to stab it. Oh, whoop, never mind. Not sure what I was originally talking about there, but I'm sure it was important. Let's go ahead and remove this extractor. And here you can see the difference in the regular factory here on the left and the new one on the right. The new GI EGW extractor that I got is definitely wider than the factory original. Hopefully that aids in reliability. We'll find out. So pointing out the limiter pad that I've been slowly filing, which I had a little bit more to do after this, but I was pretty darn close to where I needed to be. Now, also one thing I found in the gun is the front of the hook was still touching the case, so I kept taking that down a little bit by a little bit and then trying it into the slide just to make sure that I didn't overdo it and just crept up on the point where it no longer touched the case. So at this point I went ahead and finished off the slide. I have all the new parts that I'm going to put into it in there, including the new Wilson Combat guide rod, which I believe is part number 250. I'll double check that and put it in there. Apparently something was a certain size. I don't know what it was. This is the EGW nose that I put in. And the reason why I put the EGW nose in versus the one that came with it is that this one is able to be parkerized or blued, where the other one was a stainless. So I wanted to keep the look consistent and just have the guide rod and the barrel in the stainless look. So trying to color coordinate it. Why? Because it makes me feel good. Yes, push it, push it, push it real good. Yeah, I'm not sure what I was talking about. Maybe the fact that it was pretty tough under spring pressure. Alright, so looking at the firing pin stop, the one that I replaced with this EGW, so this EGW has a 90-degree kind of corner, which is different than the original, which had a radius corner. So that's going to change the impulse of the slide and slow some things down. So I want to try shooting it with how it is configured and see if there's anything that I need to do with it afterwards. Because ultimately, you know, once I get the mainspring in and know how it's going to feel, that's going to tell me the direction that I need to go. Now, on the Wilson Combat Bulletproof thumb safety, I dropped it in before I went out to go shooting this last time, and it just dropped right in. I didn't have to do any fitting to it at all, and yet it was perfectly safe. There was no hammer and sear movement when I pulled the trigger, when it was on safe, and you know, I was really surprised. However, it does make me a little concerned that when I replace the hammer and sear with the EGW ignition kit, am I going to have the same result, or am I going to have to go get a different thumb safety? So a little concerned about that, but we'll cross that bridge here shortly. Last thing here is on the extractor, it does sit proud of the slide, which I kind of figured I was going to need to do some blending, so that's no big deal. We already knew that the slide to frame was going to have a little bit of touch up that it was going to need to have happened, but it's okay. It's another area that we're going to have to blend in, you know, before we're completely done. Well, there we have today's project, guys. I really appreciate you watching, and ooh, Godzilla. You know, everything seemed to go really well, and I'm very happy with the progress that we've made on the Norinco 1911 project. And as you can tell, I've been thinking really hard. I keep starting and stopping, but who cares? But I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate you, and that I hope that you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.